Commander Jake Sullivan walked into the huge meeting room on Zephyria Prime. The walls were made of crystal that sparkled with strange lights. This was where the Galaxy Council met every month. 47 different alien species came here to share ideas and make decisions. Jake sat in the section marked for humans. It was away from the main circle where the important aliens sat. He watched as one by one, each alien species showed off what they had made or discovered. The Kethmari were tall blue creatures with 4 arms. They showed how they could move gravity around like it was clay. They made rocks float in the air and dance in circles. Everyone clapped and cheered. The Yilani looked like walking trees with silver bark. They brought pictures of dead planets they had brought back to life. In just 20 years, they could make a desert world green and full of animals. The crowd made happy sounds. The Mordoon were ancient beings that looked like floating jellyfish made of light. They shared deep thoughts about right and wrong that could solve problems that had puzzled people for hundreds of years. All the aliens nodded with respect. Jake felt his stomach twist as he watched. Each time an alien species presented something, the council leader would smile and say good things. She would press a button and add their ideas to the big computer that stored all the galaxy's knowledge. Now it was Jake's turn. He stood up and walked to the center of the room. His footsteps echoed in the quiet space. He held a small computer pad with humanity's latest work on it. Council members, Jake said clearly. Humans have studied how different cultures can solve fights without war. We found that when people share their stories and learn about each other, they stop being enemies. We have detailed plans that could help bring peace to troubled worlds. The room stayed quiet, too quiet. Jake could hear his own heartbeat. Council leader Vexandra was 12 feet tall with skin like green metal and huge eyes that had thousands of tiny parts. She was the boss of the whole meeting. She barely looked at Jake's computer pad. She waved one of her long arms like she was brushing away a fly. The human idea lacks substance, she said. Her voice had musical notes in it that hurt Jake's ears. Your people offer nothing that we cannot already do better and faster. Jake felt his face get hot. This was the 15th time in a row that humans had been told no. Every month they brought new ideas. Every month they got rejected. The reasons were always the same. Human ideas were not good enough or already done before. Dr. Lisa Martinez sat in the human section. She was a scientist who studied alien life. She gave Jake a look that said she was angry too. Lisa had been coming to these meetings for 3 years. She had seen the pattern just like Jake had. The meeting went on. More aliens shared their inventions and discoveries. Each one got praise and acceptance. The humans just sat and watched. Finally, Council leader Vexandra stood up. Her metal skin caught the crystal light and threw rainbows around the room. Next month we will celebrate the Harmony Festival, she announced. For 800 years this festival has shown the unity of all council species. We celebrate the high culture and refined arts that make our civilization great. Jake leaned forward. Maybe this was their chance. Maybe humans could show their music and art at the festival. This year's festival will include only species that possess true cultural sophistication, Vexandra continued. Therefore, humans will not participate in the Harmony Festival. Their culture lacks the refinement necessary for such an important celebration. The words hit Jake like a punch to the chest. Around the room, some aliens made small noises of agreement. Others stayed quiet, but Jake could feel their eyes on him. The meeting ended. Aliens from different species talked to each other as they left. They made plans and shared ideas. The humans walked out alone. As Jake and his team moved through the hallways toward the exit, he heard something strange. It was very quiet, so quiet he almost missed it. It was coming from below the floor. He stopped walking and listened. There it was again. Someone was humming. The sound came from the maintenance tunnels under the building. Jake knew that human workers fixed the air systems and computers in those tunnels. They were the people nobody noticed, the ones who kept the fancy meeting rooms working. And they were humming while they worked. The sound was simple but beautiful. One person hummed a tune and another person joined in with a different note that fit perfectly. Soon there were 3 or 4 voices making music together without even trying. Jake had heard humming like this his whole life. Humans did it when they worked, when they were happy, even when they were sad. It was just something people did without thinking about it. But as he listened to the voices echoing up from the tunnels, Jake realized something. In all his time at the council meetings, he had never heard an alien hum. He had never heard them sing or make any music just for fun. The alien species had perfect technology and great intelligence. They could move planets and create life. But Jake had never heard a single one of them make music just because it felt good. The humming from below got a little louder. The human workers were probably finishing their job and feeling good about it. Their voices blended together in a way that made Jake's heart feel warm. Maybe the council leader was wrong. Maybe humans did have something special to offer. Maybe the thing that made them different was not a weakness. Maybe it was exactly what the galaxy needed to hear. 3 weeks after the council meeting, Ben Carter was fixing air cleaners in the big crystal room. Ben was the head of the human maintenance team. He had worked in the council building for 5 years, keeping all the machines running while the important aliens had their meetings. Ben was using a special tool to check sound levels in the room. The tool helped him make sure the air systems were quiet enough for meetings. But today, the tool was showing something weird. The screen kept flashing numbers that did not make sense. It looked like sound waves were doing something to the crystal, computers that powered the whole building. But that was impossible. Sound was just air moving around. It could not affect computers. Ben scratched his head and looked at the numbers again. The readings showed that some kind of sound was making the quantum crystals vibrate in strange ways. Quantum crystals were the most advanced computer parts in the galaxy. They were supposed to be impossible to change with simple sound. Ben called Dr. Amy Foster on his communication device. Amy was a human scientist who studied how sound and quantum physics worked together. She was one of the smartest people Ben knew. "Amy, I need you to look at something," Ben said. "My equipment is showing crazy readings and I think you might understand what is happening." Amy arrived 30 minutes later. She was a small woman with thick glasses and wild hair that never stayed neat. She carried a bag full of scientific tools that beeped and flashed with different colored lights. "Show me what you found," Amy said, pulling out her own quantum scanner. Ben pointed to his equipment. "Look at these numbers. Every time someone walks through those tunnels under the building, the quantum crystals change. But the only people down there are human workers." Amy studied the readings. Her eyes got wide behind her glasses. She pulled out more tools and started taking measurements of her own. "This is impossible," she whispered. "But the data does not lie. Human voices are creating quantum effects that I have never seen before." For the next 2 hours, Ben and Amy ran tests. They discovered that when humans talked, laughed, or made any sound with feeling in it, the quantum crystals responded. The crystals did not just respond, they got stronger and worked better. "We need to test this more," Amy said. "But we need to be careful. If the aliens find out about this, I do not know what they will do." The next day, Ben's daughter Katie came to visit the council building with her school class. Katie was 10 years old with bright red hair and a smile that could light up a room. She was curious about everything and asked a million questions. While the class toured the main meeting room, Katie got bored. She wandered away from the group and found Ben working on a computer panel. "Hi, Dad," she said, giving him a hug. "This place is pretty but kind of cold." Ben smiled. "Yeah. It is not very warm and friendly here, not like home." Katie looked around the empty crystal room. The lights made rainbow patterns on the walls, but there was no life in them, no warmth. "It needs music," Katie said. Then she started singing, a song her grandmother had taught her. It was a simple lullaby about stars and dreams and finding your way home. Katie's clear, sweet voice echoed in the crystal room. Immediately, Ben's tools started going crazy. Every screen lit up with colors and numbers. But something else happened too. The crystal walls began to glow brighter. The rainbow pattern started moving in time with Katie's song. The room's computer system, which was usually cold and mechanical, began creating new patterns and colors that were beautiful and alive. Amy ran into the room with her quantum scanner beeping like crazy. She stopped and stared as Katie finished her song. The crystals continued to glow and pulse with soft light. "Katie," Amy said quietly, "can you sing that song again?" Katie nodded and sang the lullaby once more. This time Amy recorded everything with her tools. The quantum reading showed something that changed everything they thought they knew about physics. Human voices, especially when they carried emotion and feeling, created quantum harmonics that could improve any advanced technology. The effect was strongest with children's voices, but it worked with any human who sang or spoke with real feeling. "We have to tell the others," Ben said. Over the next few weeks, Ben and Amy quietly tested their discovery with other humans. They found that Dr. Lisa Martinez was right about something she had noticed. Human ships did run better when the crews were happy and talking. Human colonies grew better crops when people sang while they worked. Human computer systems learned faster and worked better than alien systems. Sam Rodriguez was a human who studied alien cultures. He worked with aliens every day, but not the important ones in the council. He worked with the aliens who cleaned buildings, cooked food, and fixed things. The aliens that the council leaders never noticed. Sam started asking these aliens questions about humans. What he learned surprised him. "The young Kathmari workers tell me they sneak around to listen when humans are working," Sam told Jake one day. "They say human laughter makes them feel something they have never felt before." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "They say it makes them feel happy inside. But they do not have a word in their language for happy. They call it warm brightness in the chest." Sam had more stories. Yelani food workers said they liked to hear humans talking with excitement about their day. Morden maintenance staff admitted they sometimes hid near human areas, just to hear the sounds of friendship and joy. "I think we found something important," Sam said. "Most aliens have not felt real emotions for thousands of years. Their cultures made them push down all feelings to become more logical and efficient. But when they hear humans being emotional, something wakes up inside them." Dr. Amy Foster made another discovery. She found that human emotional sounds did not just affect quantum crystals, they affected artificial intelligence systems too. AI computers that worked with humans became more creative and better at solving problems. "It is like human emotions teach the computers how to think in new ways," Amy explained to the group. "The AIs do not just process information faster, they start to understand things they never understood before." Jake listened to all the reports. Slowly, a picture was forming in his mind. Maybe humans were not the primitive species the council thought they were. Maybe their emotions and music and laughter were not weaknesses. Maybe they were the most powerful tools in the galaxy. "We need to be very careful about this," Jake said. "If the council leaders find out what we discovered, they might see us as a threat instead of just annoying primitives." But across the galaxy, something was already starting. In the places where humans worked alongside aliens, things were changing. Work was getting done better and faster. Alien workers were starting to feel things they had forgotten how to feel. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the things you ignore are the things you need the most. 6 months passed since Amy and Ben discovered the quantum sound effect. Word about human abilities spread quietly through the galaxy, but not to the important aliens. It spread to the workers, the fixers, and the forgotten ones who kept everything running. Tony Blake was a human engineer working on Kepler 442b, a mining world far from the fancy council meetings. The planet was hot and dusty, and the work was hard. Tony worked alongside Kathmari miners who dug valuable crystals from deep underground. The Kathmari were strong and could lift heavy rocks with their 4 arms. But their work was slow and difficult. They barely talked to each other and never seemed happy about anything. One day, Tony got tired of the silence. He started singing an old work song his grandfather taught him. It had a steady beat that matched the rhythm of digging and lifting rocks. "Swing low, pick high, crystal shine bright in the sky," Tony sang as he worked. The song was simple, but it felt good to sing. At first, the Kathmari workers stopped and stared. They had never heard anything like it. But after a few minutes, one young Kathmari named Vex started moving his tools in time with Tony's song. "What is this sound making?" Vex asked during their break. "It is called singing," Tony explained. Humans do it to make work feel better. Want to try? Vex looked around to make sure no supervisors were watching. Then he tried to copy Tony's song. His voice was deeper and had clicking sounds, but it worked. Soon other Kethmari joined in. They could not say all the human words, but they hummed along. Something amazing happened. When they sang together, they worked better as a team. They moved rocks faster and made fewer mistakes. After 1 month of singing while they worked, their mining production went up by 30%. But something even more important happened. For the first time in their lives, the Kethmari workers felt joy while they worked. "I have warm brightness in my chest," Vex told Tony. "Is this what humans call happiness?" "Yes," Tony said with a big smile. "That is exactly what it is." Word about the singing miners spread through quantum communication networks. Soon, human workers on other worlds were teaching songs to alien workers. The songs helped everyone work better, but more importantly, they helped aliens remember how to feel good. Dr. Rachel Green was a human scientist who studied alien minds. She heard about what was happening and decided to investigate. Rachel was brave and smart, and she cared about helping others understand each other. Rachel traveled to 3 different worlds and set up secret meetings with alien workers. What she found changed everything she thought she knew about alien species. On the water world of Aquanus, she met with young Yilani who worked in food preparation centers. The Yilani looked like walking trees, but these young ones had softer bark and brighter leaves than the old ones in the council. "We watch human food workers," a young Yilani named Bloom whispered. "They laugh while they cook. They sing to their food. Their food tastes better than ours even when they use the same ingredients." "Why do you think that happens?" Rachel asked. "Because they put happy feelings into the food," Bloom said. "We were taught that feelings make work bad. But humans show us that feelings make everything better." On the desert world of Sandris, Rachel met with Mordun maintenance workers. The Mordun looked like floating jellyfish made of light. But these workers were smaller and dimmer than the great philosophers in the council. "The ancient ones tell us that emotions are primitive," a young Mordun named Glow said. "They say we evolved beyond such things. But when we hear humans express feelings, something inside us remembers what we lost." "What did you lose?" Rachel asked. "The ability to care about more than just logic," Glow answered sadly. "We can solve any problem with our minds, but we forgot how to feel happy when we solve it." Rachel realized that all the alien species had made the same mistake. As they became more advanced and logical, they pushed down their emotions. They thought feelings were holding them back. But really, feelings were what made life worth living. The breakthrough moment came on a space station orbiting the gas giant, Storm's End. Chief Petty Officer Danny Murphy was delivering supplies when the station's main computer started acting crazy. The artificial intelligence that ran life support, gravity, and air recycling began making random changes. Lights flickered on and off. Gravity switched between too heavy and too light. The air started smelling bad. The Yilani technicians tried everything they knew, but the AI would not listen to their commands. It acted like a scared animal, changing things faster than they could fix them. "The AI is having what humans would call a panic attack," the head technician told Danny. "But AIs are not supposed to have emotions. We do not know how to fix this." Danny had an idea. If the AI was acting like a scared person, maybe it needed to be treated like a scared person. Danny walked up to the main computer terminal and started talking to it like it was his friend. "Hey there, computer," Danny said in a gentle voice. "I know you are scared. Something is wrong and you do not know how to fix it, but you do not have to fix it alone." The computer screens flickered, but the crazy changes slowed down. Danny started singing a song his mother used to sing when he was scared as a little boy. It was about being safe and not being alone. As he sang, he mixed in technical information about computer systems, turning it into a strange but beautiful song about technology and friendship. The AI began to calm down. The lights stopped flickering. Gravity became steady. The air started smelling normal again. "How did you do that?" the head technician asked in amazement. I treated it like it had feelings, Danny said. Maybe that is what it needed. The security cameras recorded everything. The video of Danny singing to the scared computer spread through underground networks across the galaxy. Aliens who saw it could not believe what they were watching. A human had solved a major technical crisis by singing to a machine. The video became known as the Song of the Machines. Young aliens shared it secretly, copying it onto hidden storage devices and passing it around like forbidden treasure. Back on Zephyria Prime, Council Leader Vexandra heard reports about cultural contamination spreading through the outer worlds. Workers were becoming less obedient. They were asking questions about emotions and feelings. Some were even trying to make music. This human influence must be stopped, Vexandra announced to the other council leaders. Their primitive emotions are making our people inefficient and unstable. But it was too late. The underground revolution had already begun. Across the galaxy, aliens were rediscovering parts of themselves they thought were gone forever. They were learning that being logical and advanced did not mean they had to stop feeling joy, friendship, and wonder. The humans had shown them something they never expected to learn. Being smart was good, but being alive was better. The Harmony Festival was 3 days away. On Zephyria Prime, thousands of aliens worked to prepare the grand amphitheater for the biggest cultural celebration in the galaxy. For 800 years, this festival had shown the best art and culture from all council species. Commander Jake Sullivan stood on a balcony overlooking the preparations. Giant screens were being installed to broadcast the festival to billions of beings across the galaxy. Gravity dancers from the Kethmari practiced their floating routines. Light artists from the Vashiti tested their rainbow sculptures. Everything looked perfect and orderly, but humans were still banned from participating. Council Leader Vexandra had made that very clear. Humans were not refined enough for such an important event. Sam Rodriguez walked up to Jake with a strange smile on his face. Sam had been very busy for the past month, traveling to different worlds and talking to aliens in secret. I have been thinking about this festival, Sam said quietly. What if we could show the galaxy what human culture really looks like? Not by asking permission, but by just doing it. What do you mean? Jake asked. There are humans working on 43 different worlds right now, Sam explained. Maintenance workers, engineers, cooks, miners, all the people the council never notices. What if they all did something together during the festival? Jake looked interested but worried. That sounds dangerous. If we get caught breaking the rules, they might kick us out of council space completely. Maybe, Sam said. But maybe it is time to show them what they are missing. Sam's plan was bold and simple. The Harmony Festival always started with something called the silence of respect. For 5 minutes, everyone in the galaxy would think quietly about unity and peace. It was a tradition that went back centuries. But what if that silence was broken by something beautiful? What if humans across the galaxy sang together at the same moment? Katie Carter was now 16 years old. She still worked with her father Ben in the maintenance tunnels under the council building. Over the years, she had learned that her voice could do amazing things to quantum crystal computers. She could make them work better just by singing. Will you help us? Sam asked Katie. We need someone to start the song. Someone whose voice the whole galaxy will hear. Katie thought about all the times she had been told to be quiet in the council building, all the times humans had been told they were not good enough. She nodded. What song should we sing? She asked. That is the beautiful part, Sam said. We will not plan it. We will let it happen naturally, like all the best human music. The night of the Harmony Festival arrived. 10,000 beings filled the grand amphitheater. The crystal walls sparkled with lights from every world in the galaxy. Billions more watched through quantum broadcast networks. Council Leader Vexandra stood at the center of the amphitheater. She was 12 feet tall, and her green metal skin reflected the stage lights. Her speech was the same as every year. Welcome to the Harmony Festival, she said in her musical voice. For 800 years, we have celebrated the refined culture that makes our civilization great. Tonight we show the galaxy what true art looks like when it comes from advanced, logical minds. She talked about the importance of controlling emotions and maintaining proper standards. She praised the discipline that had made the council species successful. "Now we begin with our sacred tradition," Vexandra announced. 5 minutes of silence of respect, where we focus our thoughts on the unity that binds us together. The amphitheater fell completely quiet. Across the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing and joined in the silence. It was the most peaceful moment in the galaxy's history. From deep in the maintenance tunnels below the amphitheater, Katie Carter's voice began to sing. She started with the same lullaby she had sung years ago when she first discovered her gift. Her voice was soft at first, just a whisper in the darkness. But the quantum crystal systems in the building heard her song and began to amplify it. Her voice grew stronger and clearer until it could be heard throughout the amphitheater. On the mining world of Kepler 442b, Tony Blake heard Katie's voice through the quantum communication system. Without planning it, he began to sing along, his voice joining hers across the vast distance of space. On the water world of Aquanis, human food workers heard the song and added their voices. On the desert world of Sandris, human engineers joined. In from research stations, cargo ships, and colony worlds, human voices began to harmonize. The song had no words at first. It was just voices blending together in a melody that told the story of humanity's journey to the stars. It spoke of loneliness and hope, of friendship and dreams, of the desire to belong somewhere in the vast galaxy. The quantum effects were immediate and incredible. The festival's technology began responding to the music in ways no one had ever seen. The crystal walls of the amphitheater started glowing with colors that matched the melody. The broadcast networks carrying the performance became clearer and stronger than ever before. Most amazing of all, the song seemed to wake something up in the aliens who heard it. Kethmari and the audience began to sway with the music. Young Yilani started to hum along. Even some Morden began to glow brighter as they listened. The human voices spread the song across the galaxy. Every human in council space added their own voice to the growing chorus. Miners sang from deep underground. Ship crews sang from the emptiness of space. Children sang from colony worlds on the edge of known space. The song built and grew until it became something more than music. It became a declaration. Humans were not asking permission to be part of galactic civilization anymore. They were showing the galaxy what it meant to be truly alive. In the amphitheater, Council Leader Vexandra stood frozen with shock. Her compound eyes reflected the impossible colors dancing on the crystal walls. Around her, aliens from 47 different species were doing something they had not done in thousands of years. They were feeling emotions. Real, powerful emotions that made them want to cry and laugh and sing all at the same time. The song reached its peak as every human voice in the galaxy joined together in one massive chorus of hope and unity. The quantum effects created a wave of harmony that touched every world, every ship, and every being in council space. When the song finally ended, the galaxy was not the same as it had been 5 minutes before. Something had changed forever. The dawn, silence that followed was not empty like the silence of respect. It was full of wonder and possibility. In that moment, everyone in the galaxy understood what they had been missing by excluding humanity from their celebration. They had been missing the very thing that made civilization worth having. The morning after the forbidden performance, the galaxy woke up different. News reports flooded every communication network. Some alien leaders were furious about humans breaking the sacred tradition. Others called it the most beautiful thing they had ever experienced. On 17 different worlds, young aliens gathered in secret to try singing like the humans had done. They did not know how to do it properly, but they tried anyway. The sounds they made were strange and often funny, but for the first time in thousands of years, they were making music for the pure joy of it. Dr. Lisa Martinez found herself busier than she had ever been in her life. Scientists from every corner of the galaxy wanted to study human emotional expression. They sent messages asking about tears, laughter, singing, and even anger. Things they had ignored or forgotten were suddenly the most important research topics. In the galaxy, we want to understand, wrote Dr. Zith, a famous Kethmari scientist. How do humans create quantum harmonics with just their voices? Our computers show that human emotions somehow change the laws of physics in small but important ways. Lisa worked day and night to answer their questions. She discovered that other species had lost their emotional abilities slowly over thousands of years. As they became more advanced and logical, they decided that feelings were primitive and useless. They trained themselves to stop feeling until they forgot how to do it at all. But humans had never lost that ability. Even as they built spaceships and computers, they kept singing lullabies to their children and crying at sad movies. They kept the connection between their hearts and their voices. On Kepler 442b, the mining world where Tony Blake worked, something wonderful was happening. The young Kethmari workers had formed their own singing group. They met after work to practice the songs Tony had taught them. Their supervisor, an old Kethmari named Grix, tried to stop them at first. "This emotional behavior makes you weak and inefficient," Grix told them sternly. But then the monthly production reports came in. The singing miners had produced 40% more crystals than any team in the company's history. Not only that, but the quality of their work was perfect. They made no mistakes because they worked together like a real team. Grix watched them work and saw something he had never seen before. The young Kethmari were happy. They enjoyed their jobs. They cared about each other and helped when someone was struggling. One day, Grix quietly asked Tony to teach him a simple work song. Dr. Amy Foster made a discovery that changed everything the galaxy thought about technology. She found that human emotional expression could make faster than light. Communication worked better than anyone had dreamed possible. The quantum communication networks that connected the galaxy had always been limited. Messages could travel instantly across space, but they often got fuzzy or lost important details. It took huge amounts of energy to send clear signals between distant worlds. But when humans sang while operating communication equipment, something amazing happened. The signals became crystal clear and could travel much farther with less energy. Human emotions somehow organized quantum particles in ways that made communication perfect. We could talk to anyone, anywhere in the galaxy, as clearly as if they were standing next to us, Amy explained to Commander Jake Sullivan. All we need is humans who are willing to sing while they work. The political situation on Zephyria Prime was getting complicated. Council leader Vexandra tried to maintain control by declaring human cultural influence dangerous to galactic stability. She issued orders forbidding aliens from participating in emotional contamination activities. But her own people were questioning her leadership. Young aliens on the council homeworld had heard the human song during the festival. They wanted to know why their leaders had hidden such beautiful things from them. The crisis came when Vexandra's chief advisor, a trusted Morden named Elder Bright, was caught listening to recordings of human music in his private office. When confronted, Elder Bright did something that shocked everyone. He started to cry. "I have been alive for 3,000 years, Elder Bright said through his tears. "I have solved the greatest mysteries of the universe with my mind. But I never knew that feeling could be so beautiful. Why did we give this up? Why did we decide that logic was more important than joy?" The scene was recorded by security cameras and leaked to news networks across the galaxy. Seeing one of the most respected Morden elders crying with happiness changed public opinion overnight. Protests began on 12 different worlds. Young aliens demanded the right to learn about emotions and music. They carried signs that said, "Let us feel," and "Music is not primitive." Faced with growing unrest and undeniable evidence of human benefits, the council had no choice but to act. An emergency session was called to address the human situation. Commander Jake Sullivan walked into the council chambers for what might be the most important meeting in human history. But this time he was not sitting in the observer section. A special chair had been placed in the main circle, right next to council leader Vexandra. The council recognizes Commander Sullivan as humanity's first official representative, Vexandra announced reluctantly. Her voice had lost its arrogant tone. She sounded tired and uncertain. Jake stood up to address the assembly. Around him sat representatives from 47 alien species, many of whom were hearing a human speak as an equal for the first time. Members of the Galactic Council, Jake began, his voice strong and clear. We do not come here to replace what you have built. We come to add something that has been missing. He talked about the mining teams that worked better when they sang together. He described the communication networks that could connect the galaxy more clearly than ever before. He explained how artificial intelligence systems became more creative and helpful when they worked with emotional humans. Logic and emotions are not enemies, Jake said. They are partners. When you use both your mind and your heart, you can do things that neither can do alone. As Jake finished his speech, something unprecedented happened. One by one, aliens throughout the assembly began to make sounds they had not made in millennia. Kethamari hummed deep, rumbling notes. Yilani created whistle-like tones. Morden glowed and chimed like distant bells. For the first time in the Council's history, the chamber filled with something that could only be called music. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with special recognition as the species responsible for cultural renaissance and quantum harmonic innovation. But more importantly, the galaxy had remembered something it thought was lost forever. Civilization was not just about building better machines or solving harder problems. True civilization meant keeping the wonder, joy, and connection that made life worth living. As the session ended, Jake looked around the chamber at aliens from dozens of worlds, all of them humming, chiming, and creating their own unique sounds of happiness. The galaxy was finally learning to sing.